Hey yo everyone, this is Fabio and welcome back. And today I think I have to record some videos. I mean, technically I have to do 3 videos. So let's start with the first one, the easy one. Let's go with the pickups, of course, since this is for the months of February and May. Looking at my list, and May, there you go, nice start, and March, since we're already in April. Um, I don't have too much stuff, but I'm very happy with the swag I've managed to gather so far. Got some games, a CD, some movies, and especially 2 very cool items for the collections. So let's just start it because I don't think it's going to be too long. But if you know me, you know I like to talk about my stuff. So, and I also need to get this thing out of the way. So, like always, let's start with the games. I got mainly a lot of Nintendo love here. Alas, no games for the Vita or PSP this month. It happens. But we got some 3DS love. And let's start actually with the DS game, which it's game already played. I'll say 99%. Already made a game discussion on it actually. And that is Mega Man ZX Advent. A very, very nice Metroidvania style Mega Man game, which it sounds cool because it is cool. It's the sequel of the original Mega Man ZX, which it's a very nice series, I have to say. It's pretty neat. If you want to know more about this, I made, as I said, a game discussion video. I wasn't able, I admit it, I didn't finish this, but I reached the final boss. But it's just too hard. It's basically the whole final bosses are just one big marathon, and by the time I was doing that multiple times, I already kind of not gave up because I would like to finish it, but I wanted to move to something different. But it's a very nice game. If you manage to find these ZX games, they're very nice. I would love a third one, if I have to say. I don't think we're gonna get these. Not anytime soon, of course. It's a Mega Man game now. All attention is focused on Mega Man. What is it? 11, 12? I don't remember now. But there's that. And if that's successful, we'll see what happens. But maybe Mega Man Legends 3 might be the most plausible candidate, I might say. Certainly not ZX. But very nice, as I said. Just the idea of a Metroidvania Mega Man game. That's very cool. And I really enjoyed it. Moving on to the 3DS, we got 2 very nice ones here, and let's start with this one, because I really wanted to buy another game from this series, and of course I've missed my chance, and now that one is stupidly expensive on Amazon, so I kind of like accepted just it's a sort of like second choice, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be fun because I really want to get into the series, and that it's, what's its name? Like Shantae and the Pirate Curse. Never played a Shantae game, even though I always heard about them for a while now, and especially there was that, what's it like, the Half Genie something? The one that was originally on the Vita, and it looks amazing. And as I said, of course, I missed that, and now that game, because I think there's just a special edition or something. It's like £100, so of course I'm not gonna get that. But this wasn't was for a decent price, and it looks nice. I'm pretty sure it's going to be nice, and that's the thing. I really want to get into these games and the Shantae series, and who knows? Maybe one day the prices for the Half Genie one will maybe go down a little. Who knows? We'll see. But in the meanwhile, I have a brand new, I think it's like side scroller or something like that, to play on the 3DS, which is something I've missed so far on that console, and I cannot wait to get into Shantae. But the next one, that's the heavy hitter, I have to say. That's a big JRPG, of course. I have to have at least one among my new games, and how I still need to buy one from this series to have basically all the numbered in the set series. And it's, of course, Dragon Quest VIII, The Journey of the Cursed King. I already own this game on the PS2, but I haven't played it in ages, and I haven't finished that. So I know that on the 3DS, that's a totally different story. Whenever I'm gonna start this game, maybe this year, who knows, I'll be able to finally finish this, which it's, we might say, kind of considered, and probably it is the best Dragon Quest game, although not my favorite, but that's another story. But I remember playing this on the PS2, and it's amazing. I cannot wait to play this. Now my hands are kind of full with my games, but in the future, hopefully this year, I will be able to play Dragon Quest VIII, because I really want to. And as I said, it is, I would say, it's probably the best Dragon Quest game, and in a way, you might say, the best entry point in the series, even though you can kind of get into wherever you want. But since it's extremely good looking, and so it will not scare new players with its like kind of like outdated graphics like Dragon Quest 1, 2, and 3, even 4. But those on the DS are kind of different, say. But at the same time, the great thing about Dragon Quest VIII, that even though it's completely updated aesthetically, like the guts of the game, the gameplay, it's basically the same from Dragon Quest 1 in a way. And that's the great thing about Dragon Quest and why I love the series so much. Of course, there's Dragon Quest XI coming on different consoles. I cannot wait to get that as well. I don't know when I'm going to play that, but of course it looks amazing. I saw pictures and videos everywhere. They're everywhere basically, and it looks phenomenal. I mean, screw Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest all the way, like always. I mean, that Dragon Quest XI looks so good. Cannot wait to get my hands on that. But in the meanwhile, Dragon Quest VIII will keep me company on the 3DS until I manage to get Dragon Quest VII. That's the big one I still need to get and play. That's the only Dragon Quest I haven't played. So sooner or later I will do it, so I can say that I've played not all, but almost all the main Dragon Quest games, because I will never able, and I don't care about Dragon Quest X, Dragon Quest X, of course, since it's an MMO. I mean, I was curious about it. Since it's a Dragon Quest game, I wouldn't mind owning a copy, but since I'll never be able to play it, I don't see the purpose for it. And yes, that's it for the games, just 3 new ones, not so much, but I've been focusing mainly on playing the games since I'm playing big games. I'm playing 2 games at the moment, so although my attention is entirely focused on one, which it's almost done, I think. Let's move to the collection items, because I cannot wait to show this. This is basically the entire reason why I was waiting for making this video. It's because I was waiting on one of these 2 items. Now, which one should I go for first? Let's go with this. Now let's go with the latest one. Let's keep the best for last between these 2. And as you all know, I am a big Breath of Fire fan, of course. That is my favorite series of all time, my favorite JRPG series, my favorite game of all time is from that series. And I also want to collect, in some form, capacity, Breath of Fire things, even though there's not much, and that's one of the problems to me, that the fact that Capcom never really nurtured that series, even though it's their only RPG series. But of course, since it's not Resident Evil or Street Fighter, why caring? So even though I'm not really into buying duplicates or Japanese imports that I cannot play, there are some exceptions. Of course, I made an entire video on Legend of Heroes. Half of that series is Japanese, so, like Japanese games that I cannot play so far. But with these series that are so close and dear to me, I can make exceptions. And of course, I can make an exception for Breath of Fire. So, since I already own all the games, naturally I played all of them. I want to replay some of them because I haven't played them in a long time, in order to refresh my memory with their awesome perfection. So let's start with this gorgeous item, and it's amazing how cheap these things are from Japan. I mean, trying to buy some of, like, I don't know, Breath of Fire, there you go, like Breath of Fire 2, for example, on the Super Nintendo, the North American version, That's stupidly expensive. I will never do it. I'm very happy with my Game Boy Advance copy. And speaking of Game Boy Advance, something that I wanted to add to my collection, since over there, I don't know if you can see it, that is a Super Famicom copy of Breath of Fire 2, which is such a good game. It's a phenomenal game. I wanted something for Breath of Fire 1 because I only own the Game Boy Advance cart, which it's fine, of course, in order to play, but I want something physical that I can look at and admire it. And for this reason, I imported this gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous item from Japan, which is the Game Boy Advance copy of the game, Breath of Fire 1. Just look how amazing this thing is. Love how awesome Ryu looks. There's Nina there and other characters. And it really gives us the mood for Breath of Fire, which, even though you might say it's kind of rough around the edges, since it's, after all, it's the first attempt by Capcom to an RPG, it is an awesome, awesome old school RPG. Especially the Game Boy Advance, I think it fixes some of the wonkiness of the Super Nintendo one. Like, for example, the fact that you cannot run in the Super Nintendo version. On the Game Boy Advance you can. And as I said, it's not a perfect game, but I absolutely love it, and I'm so happy to have this gorgeous, gorgeous box. I always love the art from Breath of Fire. Another thing that Capcom never really did, it's like, for example, publishing art books. Now we got the what's the Udon sword? There is one art book by Udon, but it's really too little too late. I mean, it's just one for 5 games. You can say 6 technically, but I believe that each game deserves its own big ass art book, because just look at this. And the world in Breath of Fire, it's also one of the things that really drew me into that series, because it's so interesting and colorful and fascinating. So this beautiful Game Boy Advance box, love it. Breath of Fire 1 and the other one. Certainly, I mean, last but certainly not least, just for the games, I own, like, for example, multiple copies of Breath of Fire 3, like both the PS1 and the PSP, Breath of Fire 4, PS1 and PC. And then something happened with the series, because after Breath of Fire 4, which is a phenomenal game, phenomenal, one of the best RPGs of its generation, I would say, even though my favorite is 3, 4 might be the best in the series, I would say. Fantastic story, it looks incredible. The soundtrack is amazing. The combat system is perfection. So good. So the series was at its peak. Then something controversial happened. And that's the 5th game in the series. And that, of course, Breath of Fire 5, Dragon Quarter. That really, really splitted the fan base. And I say splitted, mainly I would say probably 80% of the fan base really, really don't like Dragon Quarter, while 20% actually do. And I'm in this camp. I absolutely love Dragon Quarter. And what I want to show you is this gorgeous Japanese PS2 version of the game, because I own, of course, the European version, but I love this art. There is this plastic thing, but I hope you can see it clearly. But I love the art in Dragon Quarter, and this cover is just amazing. This is such an unappreciated game. You can say like one of the most underrated, but again, I think unappreciated is the correct term, because sure, it's different from the previous 4, but there's nothing wrong with it. Yes, it's an action RPG, but it's not that bad. Actually, it's a pretty good one, and it has really good elements. So I don't understand why people is so upset with regards to Dragon Quarter. Yeah, it's hard as balls, but so what? I mean, nowadays, I mean, the only accepted game, basically the very hip game, it's Dark Souls or all those clones, and those are supposed to be hard. So go play Dragon Quarter. It will kick your ass. It's a really tough game, and I cannot wait to replay it. Not this, of course. This is Japanese. They say this is just for the collection. Love this all in Japanese. You can see there's Ryu, Nina, there's Lin, Bosch. I love this game so much. Fantastic soundtrack. Like, I would love to buy Breath of Fire soundtracks, of course, but they're stupidly expensive again. Thanks, Capcom. Very good music in all games. So, two gorgeous items for my collection. I have to stop talking because I can go on forever with Breath of Fire because I love this series so much. But I love these two really nice, neat items from Japan. Give this another shot. It's a really good game. I don't care what anyone says. I mean, I love Dragon Quarter. And the first one as well. You might say they're both the black sheep of the series, but they're both really good in my opinion. While 2, 3, and 4 are RPG gems. I mean, some of the best of their respective generations. Love Breath of Fire so much. Now, let's move to the CD, since there's only one of them. It kind of surprised me that I waited so much in order to buy this, even though it was released, I think, maybe a couple of months ago or something. A bit more, maybe. I'm not sure, but I only bought it in like mid-March or something. And that is Wonderful, Wonderful by The Killers. As you can see up here. I'm a huge fan of The Killers. Absolutely love their work since I discovered them with their first disc, Hot Fuzz. Since then, I've been a very loyal fan, and at first I wasn't entirely sure with this because the single from this album, The Man, it's kind of a weird song. I wasn't entirely sure about it. I mean, I like it. It's kind of funny, and I like the rhythm, but I don't know. It doesn't really feel like a proper Killer song. But then, once you start to explore this disc, you got fantastic songs like Rot, Life to Come, Tyson versus Douglas, Some Kind of Love, Out of My Mind, The Calling. This is a very good album, actually. I wouldn't say it's my favorite, of course. It's not, probably, but I really like it. It's really good. So if you're into The Killers, this is you probably already got it. But if you've never heard The Killers, first of all, why not? But this is very good, I think. I'm not sure if it's as good as, for example, Day and Age or oh, now I'm blanking on the title. What's the name of that? Battleborn. There you go. Battleborn is. I'm really appreciating that. That might be my favorite, actually, even over Day and Age. But Wonderful, Wonderful is very nice, especially after the first kind of weird song. I don't know. Maybe they were just experimenting something a little different. But once you start to get into this with Rut, this is really good, actually. Really, really good. I say, oh, there they are. And here they are. They didn't let me down. Highly recommend Wonderful, Wonderful by The Killers. Let's move to the movies. We just got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 movies and 1 TV series. So we're nearly there. I don't know if... Let's start with this because I have to talk about this. I was expecting something completely different for certain elements with this movie, mainly because I rewatched Versus and what's his name? Ryuhei Kitamura, maybe it's over there somewhere. But I rewatched it and I was laughing from beginning. I laughed from beginning to end with that movie because it's hilarious. It's crazy. It's over the top. The cheap gore and all of that, but I loved it. I mean, the way these Japanese actors sometimes overact, it's something that really kills me. Especially there is that guy. Of course, I don't know the actor's name, and I'm sorry, but there's this guy who's playing a Yakuza guy, basically, who is so over the top insane. Is like kind of like this. It's just thinking about it makes me laugh. The protagonist, for example, he tries so hard to be cool, so much. So, with all that said, again, I can talk for an hour about that movie, but I wanted something similar. I want something like heavy on action, over the top, and all of that. I really want a Versus 2, basically, because you can have it. It's very open-ended. There is actually a cool twist at the end. So while I was looking for a movie like Versus, I stumbled upon Tokyo Tribe, and I say, just looking at the cover, okay, this looks crazy enough. Let's give it a shot. I think it was. I know I didn't spend too much, but it was. I don't remember. It was like next to nothing or almost. Yeah. It's like, what the hell is this? I loved it in for what it was. It's really, really weird though, because I really not into the main theme of the movie, which is basically this entire thing. It's narrated through Japanese rap and the Japanese rap scene. I was like, what the hell? But it's hilariously crazy. It's weird. There are some amazing characters in there, I have to say, especially this blonde, let's say Yakuza. It's not really Yakuza, there's like these tribes, these gangs ruling over Tokyo, because it's based on a manga. And I have to say, it's very interesting the way they've done it. It's all, for the most part, narrated through these rap singers and all of that. But I'm really not into rap music, so I was scratching my head, and I think only because it's Japanese and the way they act, and for some reason I can kinda endure Japanese rap, even though I don't like it. I will never buy a rap CD in Japanese of all things, but it made the movie even more crazy in a way. So yeah, if you find it for next to nothing, give it a shot, just because this is a movie that can, I think, come out only from Japan. You will never see something like this in the West. It's too crazy, but it's amazing. I mean, some scenes are just hilarious, and some of these characters are crazy, especially this one, the guy with the gold suit, with the Vulcan, and always kind of having this face. I mean, you have to see this to believe it. It's phenomenally weird, as I say. Tokyo Tribe. Look it up. It's worth it. It's worth your time, kinda. And let's go into some more serious stuff for a while. In the last couple of months, I've been having a sort of like World War II movies kick, so I've rewatched some, like The Thin Red Line. I forgot one. I forgot to take a movie there. Let's talk about it later. But The Thin Red Line, Flags of Our Fathers, Letters from Iwo Jima. There's something else. I don't think so. No, I don't think so. But and then I bought this one because what I really want now from World War II movies, especially, it's just to watch some that actually depict World War II from the other side. So basically, World War II movie focus on, for example, the Germans, the Italians, the Japanese, and that was something that really Letters from Iwo Jima gave me inspiration for, because I watched that movie ages ago when it was released, and I loved it. It's one of my favorite war movies, if not my favorite World War II movie, and rewatching it really, I will say, reinforced my opinion on it, because I think it's a fantastic World War II movie. Well, on the other hand, I really have to rethink my opinion on The Thin Red Line. I remember it being much better than what it is, I think. Aside for the war scenes, the rest of the movie, it's boring as fuck. You can say it's a Terrence Malick movie, because it's so pretentious and boring. Although there are some amazing moments in this. So it's a weird one to me, but it never ends. So I want to see some World War II movie focus on the Germans. Because, of course, I mean, World War II has the Nazis, history's best villains, together with the Vikings, basically. So I wanted something depicting, like, the controversy of the German army. So, of course, like, not all the Germans were Nazis. Of course, as we know, like, not all Italians were fascists. So this is supposed to be one of the best, even though it's very old. It's from the 70s. Yeah, 77. And it's Cross of Iron. Boy, this is good. It's fantastic. depicts the kind of daily life of death and frustration of German soldiers in 1943, I think. Anyway, like in on the Eastern Front, so where most of World War II actually happens, or like the most important action happens. So the Germans against the Soviets, and it just depicts how brutal the war on that front was. Considering it's a movie from the 70s, this is tough. Of course, nowadays it's almost like a kids' movie. I mean, but it's really good. There are amazing characters, especially the two main characters. There is what's his name, Steiner, and what's Stransky. There you go. There's Sergeant Steiner, Corporal Steiner, and Captain Stransky. Stransky being the aristocratic, cowardly sort of Prussian officer. Steiner is this like veteran hardened by battles and death and disillusion in the cause of the war, and it's just so good. If you are into World War II movie, I say this is a must if you never watched it. I mean, I've heard of it until now, but it's awesome, and the whole thing with the Cross of Iron, with Stransky being obsessed by the idea of getting the Cross of Iron, this recognition in the German army, it's really, really good. Absolutely a must for World War II fans out there. Fans of the World War II movies fans. Next, we got a martial arts movie, and I like the sort of silly ones. And with this one, I was really happy, especially for, let's say, the first part of the movie. The second part, it's very good still, like when the main action takes place. But I would say the best part, it's of course like in, I would say most of the movie, the training, it's amazing. And that is Remo Williams' The Adventure Begins. And this is amazing, especially, as I said, because of the training scenes the main character has to go through, thanks to this phenomenal character of, what's his name, Master Chun, I think. Is there a name? I know it's Chun, but I'm not sure if that's correct pronunciation. This Korean martial artist, Korean master actually, and he's amazing. It's worth watching this movie. I kind of wish that the whole movie was just the training. Then the mission happens, and it's okay, it's fun, but I love the interaction between Remo and Chun. It's absolutely the highlight of the movie. It's really like what's the scene like? Chun, I love you. Then the other one, of course you love me. I'm Chun, but at the same time, I really want to kill you. Good. Let's talk about that. All with, of course, I'm not even trying doing Chun's accent, but also when he's like scoffing at like Remo's remarks, like, "What are you, Chinese?" Like, Chinese? Chun, it's Korean. Really good movie. If you manage to find it, I think it's really, really cheap. I mean, it's something from the 80s, 85, as you can see. Really good. Love Remo Williams. Next, let's go with this one. Watched this in cinemas last year, and while I like it, I'm not entirely convinced. Meaning, it's a good movie. There's a good movie here, of course, but I don't think it was necessary. I could have lived my life without this movie easily. Of course, I'm talking about Blade Runner 2049, Blade Runner 2. I didn't need this movie. I absolutely didn't. I didn't want it. Blade Runner is fine as it is. It doesn't need a sequel. Here it is. And it's a good movie. It's okay. But it's too much style over substance. I mean, the story, it's nothing special. It looks amazing, absolutely, but it better looks amazing with the kind of budget the movie is. Villeneuve, it's a good director, nothing wrong with that. And Ryan Gosling does a good job as Kay, but I think they really focus on uninteresting storytelling for this movie. Like, the best part of the movie to me, it's the sort of romance between Kay and that computer program. It's like, how is that even possible? Explain that. Build on that, not on the stupid cliche story of, oh, the robots may have children. What's going to happen? And there are like plot holes here and there, like what happened to the sort of like replicant revolution that never happened. There is where is he? Have I Jared Leto. There you go. I couldn't think of his name. Like Jared Leto as the villain in a way. It to me was a massive letdown because it was kind of pushed. I mean, look, that's Jared Leto. It's this weird villain, and it's just like a sort of uninteresting new version of Tyrell to me. It's the usual leader of the corporation with this sort of god's ambition, like, look, I've created life. But the real villain is this. She's not even in the cover. She's the Terminatrix kind of thing, like the female replicant. Okay, that's not interesting. So if you liked it, that's fine. I did as well, but yeah, I mean, it's nothing special. I bought this because there was an offer, like buy a movie and get another one discounted. So I said, oh well, there's nothing else. Let's get this, but not really in a rush to rewatch it, if I have to be honest, because yeah, it's not bad, but it will never be nowhere near as good the first one. I mean, I can watch the first Blade Runner forever. With this, I don't even know if I want to bother rewatching it. I just bought it for the offer, if I have to be honest. Nothing special. Last movie, we're moving into anime, and this is something I wanted to watch in a long time, so I'll probably do it as soon as possible, because these three last items, like Blade Runner 2, this, and the TV series, I bought this the other day. I didn't have the time to watch them, but I really want to watch Your Name. I heard so many good things about it. Like, the critics went on and on and on saying how this is the best anime movie of all time, it's better than Ghibli, all of that. I haven't watched it, I don't know. It looks really nice. I remember Leo, Funny Nerd, talked me about it for a bit, and he really liked it, so let's see. I don't know what to say, I haven't watched it. So I can say a bit more maybe once I've watched it, but I cannot wait to watch it, to watch Your Name, because it has to be good to receive all that attention. And finally, let's finish this video with a bang. I wanted to buy this maybe a month ago or something, but I didn't have the chance. Finally got my hands on it. I cannot wait to watch it. Ash vs. the Evil Dead Season 2. What do I even need to say? I mean, first season was a lot of fun. It was nothing special, spectacular, but most of the charms from Evil Dead, especially this guy right here, is there. I mean, it's Bruce Campbell. Of course he's funny. Of course he's hilarious, and he's enjoying this so much, I think. Maybe he hates playing Ash, but the first season was a lot of fun. So I cannot wait to see season 2. And yeah, again, I don't know what to say because I haven't watched this yet, but I'm happy that this thing is continuing, because we always need some Evil Dead in our life. Because if I have to be honest, the reboot of the movie series, so when was it, like 2015 or something? It was alright, but didn't have Bruce Campbell. I'm sorry. That's what makes especially Evil Dead 2 and 3. So that's it. These are all the items from February and March. Very cool stuff. So thanks a lot, guys, like always, to watch this. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time. Take care.